Do we need to have the movie thing at the beginning of this? Not at the beginning of the actual episode, but before we start filming it. Please turn off your cell phone. Don't be a douchebag tool.
I'm just gonna...
You don't belong here! Hello and welcome to Man of Biscuit, episode number Spoilercast 2!
What are we talking about, RJ?
We're talking about Deadpool. TJ thought I was going to say Daredevil.
It's gonna happen.
It might. It's happened all week. I've been saying it all week. But no, this week we're talking about Deadpool. It's a spoiler cast, so you got 5 seconds to get gone if you haven't seen this movie. But 5, 4, 3, 2, slow it down, 1. Okay, you better be gone. But honestly, if you haven't seen Deadpool already.
What movie?
Deadpool.
He's pushing for it.
If you haven't seen Deadpool already, then what are you doing with your life? Or are you under the age of 18? It was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. It was funny. It was entertaining, but I think that you guys might have some things to say about it that maybe I didn't occur to me. I don't know. I did enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, but other than a few lines, not a lot has stuck out to me. So let's go. What's popping about Deadpool?
Oh.
I
think you meant to do that.
I might have. No, my favorite line in the whole movie was TJ, not this TJ, but the other TJ, the guy from Silicon Valley.
TJ Miller, whose
TJ.
character was named Weasel.
Weasel, yes. Weasel being like, all right, guys, I would go with you on this Deadpool spoiler cast, but I don't want to.
I don't know. There's a lot to talk about, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that I really appreciated about the film is less about the movie proper and more about how they made it. That's the things that have been jumping up to me, and what the reaction in Hollywood has been to the fact that it's breaking so many records.
Right.
Like
number one opening for R-rated movie of all time.
Yeah, it's huge.
It beat pretty much everybody else as far as numbers go. Top Spider-Man for that opening weekend deal. It did really, really well. Oh, for me, the movie was a blur. A blur of gratuitous violence and nudity and other such action. It was like with RJ, there wasn't a whole lot.
I know what you're thinking right now. Your boyfriend told you this was going to be a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see some of the behind the scenes stuff, especially when the Blu-ray comes out, because a lot of the things that everybody really loves about this movie, some of the lines that really popped were improvised.
Mm-hmm.
There's apparently a huge sequence of TJ Miller and Ryan Reynolds going back and forth.
Yeah, I saw that on the internet. Yeah.
You look like Freddy Krueger face fucked a topographical map of Utah. That whole exchange back and forth of things that he looks like. There was a very long improv section where they were just popping back and forth, and they picked the ones they liked the best. And I want to see the other ones.
Well, some of the other ones are actually online. I mean,
yeah.
The ones like you look like a trucker took a shit on your shoulders and then made ears with it. Things like that. We talked about it last week when we were debating whether or not we were outlining, hey, this is not for kids.
Right.
Except that episode does not exist on the internet, Jay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode never got published.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. We never talked about that. Jay, I don't know if the Man of Biscuit has gotten to your head in this point and you're just imagining things that aren't there. But the Man of Biscuit can be a hallucinogenic substance. And hallucinogenic. Yeah. All right. The improvisation of it. Yeah. I mean, that's great with comedy in general, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the best things are improvised.
And I think that like one of my favorite lines, if not my favorite line in the entire movie, was another improv one that it wasn't even like a sit down and improv out some stuff. It was just Ryan Reynolds just popping a funny line out of nowhere on a take. And it was when he went to the house in Westchester, went to the school, and he was like, "Hey, this is a really big house, and yet I only ever see the two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford a third X-Man." Like, apparently he just ad-libbed that, and it was probably the most memorable bit for me in terms of dialogue.
It's definitely one of them, and I think when you open up the fourth wall breaking that Deadpool allows, Daredevil doesn't allow it, but Deadpool does.
We're so careful with this.
Right. Yes. Yes. When Deadpool allows you to break the fourth wall and stay true to the nature of the comics, which is why it does it, then you open up the door to all kinds of great improvisational and ad lib lines. And to your point there, I think they really took advantage of that in incorporating them into the movie. Absolutely.
Like from the very beginning, the opening credits
featured the little like Green Lantern card.
Yeah, and like it's some douchebag's movie produced by asshats.
Yes, featuring a British villain. Yeah.
Written by the real heroes here.
Yes. The people who actually wrote all that. Yeah.
I really appreciated all of that. Although I had a weird situation that happened when I went and saw the movie. Because apparently the film at the theater that I was at sold out. And so that's impressive and that's cool. It shows the kind of like penetration that this movie is getting. Wow. But I guess nobody expected it to happen because after the film had already started, like right at the moment when the Green Lantern joke popped up with a little card coming out, all of a sudden the movie pauses and we're like, wait, what? And they had people that worked at the theater come out and all the lights came up and they were like, anybody that is in a row that has empty spaces, everybody get up and move to the right until there are no more spaces and sit back down so we can fit everybody in. And I was kind of annoyed because there were people standing around for like 10, 15 minutes before the movie started. And I'm like, okay, either A, the people that showed up towards the very like end, like right before the movie started, just acknowledge you're not going to sit with your friends, look around for empty seats. And if failing that, maybe the people that work at the theater could have come in before the movie actually started. But
here's the thing: as someone who worked in the theater business for 6 years, in an era when movies still sold out, that is actually a common occurrence in a sold out theater because people without assigned seating don't want to sit next to other strangers. So the ushers have to come in and be like, "Look, people, you're in a sold out film. You're going to have to get up next to a stranger. That's the price you pay for going to a sold out movie." And so they were pushing you along in that direction. I've been that guy directing traffic like that before, so I am sympathetic to them.
For me, there was maybe 20. We went to like a 12:05 showing Friday night, and there was 20 people in it.
Well, that's the way to go to a late night or an early show for an R-rated movie. But I went to it on a Friday night, and it was sold out. But I was fortunate that I had paid for my brother's ticket, so I'm like, you're sitting next to the stranger, I'm sitting on the end. But anyway, but that leads into something else, not really spoilery, but that's really interesting about the movie we touched on before, is that it has broken the record for R-rated movies for opening weekend. And I mean, it might actually put to bed this idea once and for all, not once and for all, it might be the exception that proves the rule, but that an R-rated movie can't sell, right?
Right. And that's something that I talked about after the film, and not just about R-rated movies, because people do shy away from them now in terms of like producers and stuff.
Right.
Like people don't want to make them anymore because they figure they can make more money with a PG-13 film.
Right.
And somewhere out there is a producer just sitting there trying to figure out how much more money Deadpool would have made if it was PG-13. But that guy needs to get punched in the face. But the thing of it is, like I was talking afterwards with a friend of mine, that like this opens up more R-rated movies, and not just that, but more R-rated comic book movies. Because after Watchmen flopped the way it did, pretty much the conventional wisdom was we'll never see one again. And now after this, there's hope that we might see it. And my friend was kind of being negative about it, not saying that they wouldn't, but saying like, what comics would you need an R-rated film for? And I was having to take a position of like, well, there's all kinds of comics that could probably do well with an R rating, not necessarily for like as gratuitously R as Deadpool was, but there are plenty of comics out there that have, you know, violent or sexual situations or occult overtones that you can't get away with. Like a Constantine movie that's rated R would be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
but not just the normal mature line, right? I mean, you know, you could make tons of Vertigo or you know that type of thing.
Brings to mind one of the mainstream DC titles that ultimately could benefit.
Well, here's something I saw today. You know, it's one of those interview things for headlines, and it may or may not ever pan out to thing. But the idea of an R-rated X Factor movie and guess who? Because since this is a spoiler, we can talk about it. Cable, who's going to be in the next Deadpool movie, unless he's fucking with us,
which he could be.
My
best moment in the entire movie. By the way, it says
really
in the side,
good.
The very end when he.
Best guy that ultimately wants to play Cable.
Who wants to play Cable, Jay?
There's a guy there's an actor who's already vying for that position. Let me see.
Oh, Jay, I put you on the big screen, and you weren't prepared, Jay.
I am never prepared.
All right, Jay.
You know that.
You keep preparing. TJ, vamp for him.
Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang. Who's that?
A dude. Like I saw this article as well, and I was trying to think like, wait a minute, who was this guy? And I might be
much like I am
like
now.
I'll tell you what, man. He doesn't look half bad as far as.
But who is he? What do we know him from?
That's what I'm looking up right now.
All right,
Avatar. He was the general in Avatar.
Okay, that guy. Okay, I can see it.
I don't remember anything about Avatar other than that they had sex with their tails.
Sometimes we do that too.
Okay, so 99% of this I have not actually seen.
Yeah, so to hell with that guy. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You know who should play Cable? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson should play everybody. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could play the shark in Jaws.
All right.
But speaking of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I am excited to see him in Shazam in a couple of years.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He's going to play Black Adam. He's the villain in the Shazam movie.
Awesome.
It's going to be great.
He's going to do the peck pop of love.
Boop, boop, boop.
All right. Jay, what are you still looking at?
I was trying to find something. I mean, the guy's the bad general from Avatar.
That's the only role that I can think of him as, and I can kind of see it from that. Because he reminds me very much.
General. But I already told you what I remember. Go ahead,
he was in a robot suit.
I thought that was like Michael Ironside or something.
Was it?
There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I don't know. Anytime I picture a bad general, Michael Ironside.
That's what I think of too. He could play Cable or the shark in Jaws.
Fair point. All right. So, what else about Deadpool, though? Because this is a Deadpool... Well, this is a Deadpool spoiler cast, but we maybe should have numbered it because it's turning into a regular Mana Biscuit episode.
Yeah, but it's so spoilery for the bits that we're getting into.
All right. Then we won't number it. We're not going to number it.
Let's talk about
I think it was 43.
Well, one of the things... What? Go ahead, Jay.
All right, first one. First one was. Did anybody appreciate the fact that this was kind of a love story deal?
Hey, Jay, put your phone down. You're on the big screen. And silence it because we all know what a Facebook message sounds like.
Hello, Maria.
All right.
Now we have to solve a problem like Maria.
Oh my goodness! Let's not even.
Hey! We don't call out your love interests on the show.
Yeah,
you gotta have
true.
Boundaries.
And
All right. So what were you saying before all that started?
I have no idea what he was saying, but I know what I wanted to say.
All right, go ahead, TJ.
Okay, because I'll actually talk about the show. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting was the characters that they picked to be the X-Man background characters. They picked Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, they did a great job. But what apparently happened, and this is really interesting to me, is they were given a huge list of X-Men characters, like all the people that are in the property, and they're like, pick from amongst these 2 of them. And so they went out and they specifically chose those 2. They picked Colossus because he's a relatively well-recognized X-Man. And then they chose Negasonic Teenage Warhead because she was so obscure that they didn't have anything that they had to do to tie her in. They could actually make a character. Because functionally it was just a girl with that name, and that's all anybody knew.
Right.
So they could have a little bit of leeway in building this character. And I thought it was really interesting to see that choice, them making that move, instead of picking 2 more easily recognizable X-Men right off the bat. Although I did have a bit of a nerd moment where I was kind of annoyed in the fight between Angel Dust, or whatever her name is, and Colossus, when she was really kind of thrashing Colossus for a minute. And I'm like, they're really dramatically understating how strong Colossus is.
Yeah, so, they were not adhering to the well-published and well-recognized Marvel scale of superpowers, but at the same time, you got to have some drama.
Right, and I'm like, it felt more like they were diminishing Colossus as opposed to beefing up Angel Dust. But,
yeah, because you actually saw, Colossus's skin doesn't ripple. Yeah.
No, it's impervious to most damage. And she's choking him out with the wire. And that makes zero sense.
Beat him up. You can throw him around and he can be like that. But yeah, you can't choke Colossus. You can't choke a stainless steel pipe.
The dude is organic steel, brah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he lifts. Do you even lift? Do you even organic steel? No.
He is yoked and swole.
He is so swole. Oh, man.
All right. Somehow we need to get Jay off this because he's just like, ooh. Hi.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, why don't you host the show for a while? I'm going to
host the show. We know
so we're just going to put him on the big screen and let him carry the show for 8 minutes like we just did.
All right, Jay. It's your show. What are you going to do?
Hi. I'm just gonna.
You don't belong here.
All right. So
anything else? I think we're gonna wrap this up. But anything else you guys wanted to touch on before we do?
It was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I felt like they represented the character fairly. It was as I described to a friend of mine who called me for an honest review of it because he figured that I would be the one who was going to give the most balanced opinion on it. It's not the best comic book movie I've ever seen. Certainly not the best film I've ever seen. But it's as perfect a representation of Deadpool as you could conceivably ask for. Sure. And that's all you could want, is for them to represent the character fairly and honestly and show what made everybody love him in the comics. And they did that just in a spectacular fashion.
And there's been a lot made in the press about that in terms of the fact that Ryan Reynolds himself was such a big Deadpool fan and how much he did not like, even though I believe he played him, did he not, in the Wolverine? Yeah, how much he did not like the first representation of Deadpool and wanted the actual movie to, be... God damn it, Jay. God fucking damn it.
Just ignore it.
I turned it off, I swear.
Anyway.
Do we need to have the movie thing at the beginning of this? Not at the beginning of the actual episode, but before we start filming it. Please turn off your cell phone. Don't be a douchebag tool.
Dude, I swore I turned it off.
Anyway. In terms of Ryan Reynolds being an actual Deadpool fan. I think that brought a lot to it, and we also talked about how the improvisational aspect of it made it funnier, and because he was a fan, he was able to bring that aspect of his comedic talents to it more. Jay, look at the screen for 5 more goddamn seconds while we say goodbye. All right, thanks so much for watching this Deadpool Spoilercast, an unnumbered episode of Man of Biscuit. We'll be back next week with a numbered episode, and we'll try not to spoil anything. But until then, I am RJ Velosky and Jacob Gamble, TJ Rathburn. We're all getting out of here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.